Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET educator. In this new YouTube video, we are going to move forward with the concept series, and as we are proceeding with the Indian dramatists, we are going to talk about one of the prominent dramatists who has been asked in the NET examination time and again. So who are we talking about in here? We are talking about none other than Badal Sircar. He was a dramatist who brought a new concept in the Indian theatre and drama, and how he was proceeding. What were the themes which were really prominent and how they were different from the ones who were, usually used in the pre-independence dramatist time. So how the differentiation amongst the two of these very particular things can be seen when it comes to the themes, when it comes to dealing with the play altogether, using different types of techniques and making the play accessible to each and every one. Correct? So first of all, as always, here's a picture of him, and he was born in the year 1925 in Kolkata. And he passed away as well in the year 2011 in Kolkata only. So we see that how this was a person who brought a concept of third theatre into the English drama. And when we talk about a drama, of course, we understand the word itself means that we are going to enact certain things on stage. We are going to use the accessories. We are going to use any and every prop which is available and which is required, of course, for the drama. So he was born in the year 1925 in Kolkata, West Bengal, as I already told you, mentioned you. And when we are moving forward with writers, right, we need to keep this very thing in mind, that we need to see if they have won, especially if they have won Nobel, if they have won any kind of literary award. Correct? Just like we have Sahitya Akademi Award. But when we talk about the Indian dramatists, there is a very prominent award which is there, that is the Sangeet Natak Akademi Award. Right? So he won 2 awards. Number 1 is Padma Shri in the year 1972, which is of course a civilian award which is highly honorable in India. Second award, specially for the playwrights. For the playwrights of India, this award is there. So, of course, what do we see in here? That he won the Sangeet Natak Akademi Award, and it says the word Natak. So, of course, we understand by drama, we are enacting, we are doing some kind of Natkiya Rupantharan, etc. And he won this award in the year 1968. So, we are clear with these two things. Now, moving forward, we know, as I already gave you this very thing, that he was a prominent playwright in the Bengali cinema. So he used to write his plays in Bengali language, and we see the themes were modernist in stance, right? Modernist and postmodernist in stance. He put across a concept of third theatre, which is also known as people's theatre, right? And the third theatre here was known as Shatabdi. Why am I calling it people's theatre? Why do we call it the third theatre concept? Because of the fact that he brought this very thing, inculcating this very thing by bringing closer to the audience. Simplicity. With simplicity, you are going to perform the dramas without any, so minimalistic, techniques we are going to use. So bringing the play, closer to the audience per se was the main focus, and that is why he brought the concept of third theatre in time. And of course, he was known as a barefoot playwright who created, as I told you, the tradition of, so any question like this in the NET examination could be asked, that who was known as the barefoot playwright. Correct? So we know the name is Badal Sircar. Then his plays deal with social, political and psychological problems, and with the examples that I have brought forth, with the overviews of the plays that he has, right, we are going to see that how the themes of absurdity, the themes of existentialism, which is psychological, which is social as well as political, how the other things are leading a person's mind to shift, how and why the person is feeling some kind of existential crisis. So we will deal with those very things moving forward. His important plays or notable works are Evam Indrajit, right, Baki Itihas, Pagla Ghoda, Baag Pralap, Jadi aur Ek Baar. Third theatre, Bhuma and Basi Khabar. So we'll see, we'll do a couple of plays in here, right? The other is your responsibility on your own, because I want you as in also to put in the required effort which is there to clear the NET JRF examination. Moving forward, as I already told you, these are a list of some of the important plays written by him, out of which Evam Indrajit is really important. Now, third theatre movement, let's just talk about it briefly here, right, in a brief detail. Third theatre movement in the 1960s, and when he brought this concept, right, this very theatre, as I told you, was known as Shatabdi. So, bringing the theatre closer to the people was one of the aims of Badal Sircar, and to bridge the gap between the elite and popular forms of theatre. And of course, we have seen that multiple times the theatres which are there, the tickets that we get, they are of high pricing in today's time as well if we want to go and watch a play. So he tried to reduce that very gap, not in just the things of the popular forms of theatre, but other ways as well, as in the bringing the basically theatre closer to the people, in the sense that yes, it is easily accessible and available to all of them, right? Emphasized simplicity, accessibility, as I already told you, that accessibility not only to the elite class but also the class, the common or the middle class people, as we can talk about, and a direct connection with the audience. So relatability ka concept that we see in certain Instagram memes, that yes, this has happened with me as well. He also brought the concept of relatability herein. Use of non-conventional performance spaces and minimalistic production elements, wherein we'll see that is why with minimalism simplicity comes, that whatever we have, we are going to use that, we are going to move forward with that and create and stage a play. Now, first play that we are going to talk about is Evam Indrajit, published and performed in the year 1963, correct? It was a 3-act play and considered a landmark play. What do we see in here? We see a writer's gap, the block that comes here when a writer starts writing, and of course, he or she is overwhelmed to some extent. And how with the imaginary spaces that we create, how that is also psychologically related, correct? Landmark play, struggles of the protagonist Indrajit as he searches for meaning and identity in a fragmented world. And Indrajit is whom? Indrajit is the writer. So Evam Indrajit bhi, he is also suffering in the mankind. He is also searching for the meaning of life. He is also searching for the identity that he thinks he does not really have, correct? The elements of realism, absurdism and existentialism. 3 movements all together. Realism, to show things as they are, we can see that. Absurdity, because we will see certain actions which are basically strange. Existentialism, because he is questioning the existence of his life. He is questioning the meaning, right? The aim of his life, that why am I here? Raises questions about the meaning of life, the pursuit of art. Why? Because he is a writer, and the existential crisis faced by individuals. So through one character only here, Sircar is trying to relate or make things relatable with you as well in today's time, where we also feel at times exhausted and overwhelmed with things that we don't know what are we doing with our lives. So he brought that very theme there and then. Moving forward, tale of a playwright who struggles painfully in vain to write a play, and how with time, when he keeps on writing, he struggles in his mind that yes, this is what I'm supposed to write, and then again he tears up his manuscripts because he is overwhelmed, he is exhausted, he does not know what to write, what will the audience be expecting out of him as a writer. Right? His inspiration appears as a woman whom the dramatist calls Mansi. So this is an important thing. This is one such thing where we see the concept of the muse, right? That inspiration comes in the form of a woman named Mansi, and he tries to, write about her. He also has 3 different personalities, or his 3 different personas. We see that not only Mansi is created, he has also created 3 people for his own self. That is why this is a really absurd element that a writer, we as a writer, if I talk about, will create one, one character out of my own self if I want the novel or play to be autobiographical in nature. But he brought that thing very forward, and he created three characters, 3 personas of his, which were, different from one another. So that is why this absurdity, that is why this existentialism, that who and which is the personality that I am, which is the person that I am. Am I the one out of those 3 that I have created, or am I the one in reality who is writing the play? So those themes, the writer is not able to write a play, because as a conscientious and an honest artist, he finds that life is too chaotic and he does not know the meaning of life. Hence, he does not feel like, he does not want, right, to write a play. Cohere to drama, mold and into mechanical to have any meaning. So life is too mechanical to have any meaning. Hence, the theme of existentialism can be seen in here. So I'll be providing you with the overview, correct? So this was the image, right? Then mostly the things which we see in here are the tickets or the posters which were there when the plays were staged time and again in different theatres in India. Then we have the second play which was published in the year 1965 titled Homa. Correct? Life of Homa, a tribal man who is displaced by the industrialization, and how he deals with that. How we see that the marginalized people, the people whom we discriminate against at times, the minorities, etc., how they struggle. This is shown through the character of Bhuma, who is a tribal peasant. Exploitation of the marginalized communities, these are certain things which can be seen. Loss of cultural heritage, because of course industrialization is happening, and with the advent of certain machinery, with the advent of industry and other technological advancements, we see that cultural heritage is lost. The tribes are losing their heritage and their struggle for survival is real, that how am I going to survive with the advancements which are coming? I am a person who has lived a life of a tribal all my life. So how am I going to adjust in this very particular thing? Hence the struggle for survival. Social justice, empowerment of marginalized voices, and how Homa will turn up to be a strong character later on. Oppressed peasant in the Indian rural society, this has been shown, and presents social and economic exploitation through a series of scenes. So when you will see this play staged somewhere in any kind of theatre, or maybe on YouTube or any other platform, or you read this very play, you will understand this thing. The society full of opportunists who are there, full of exploiters are there, and Bhuma is the force which is representing. It presented as a forest of poisonous trees. So who are presented as the forest of poisonous trees? The opportunists and the exploiters who are there. And Bhuma, an aboriginal, that is a tribal barbarian, as a woodcutter. That how powerful this particular imagery Sircar has used, that he as a woodcutter is going to cut those very forests, those very trees which are poisonous. Who are those trees? These exploiters who are exploiting such tribes. Bhuma is an archetype of the oppressed, exploited society, the people, the masses which are there, who finally take up his rusty axe. Even if the axe is rusty, he has that much effort, he has that much determination to cut down those poisonous trees and get rid of them and stand for his own self, right? So we see the powerful portrayal of the marginalized groups, the masses, etc. through the motivation and through the portrayal of the character titled or named Homa, who sees that yes, I need to stand for myself, I need to bring forward the cultural heritage which was long lost and which is getting lost because of the industrialization, correct? Cut the poisonous trees that grow around him. So this particular play, Homa, was published in the collection 3 plays where we see Procession, Bhuma and Stale News, which were published together, correct? So in the collection titled 3 plays, this was published, correct? And what are those 3 plays? As we have written down in here, Procession, Bhuma we have talked about earlier, and we have Tale News. So that you all know that these are also the plays written by Badal Sircar. Next, moving forward is Pagla Ghoda, which was written and published in the year and performed in the year 1967, translates to The Mad Horse. If we talk about it in the translation into English, we understand that it is translated as The Mad Horse. Disillusionment, existential crisis again. So you see that how typically does Sircar deal with these very things, the disillusionment that comes, correct? And how we are going to talk about those disillusionment with the types of characters which are here, who are talking, who are sitting at a funeral of a woman who died because her love was unrequited, and how they see the spirit of that very woman and they talk, and certain things come on the forefront. Faced by the protagonist Amal, questions the authenticity of relationships, how true they are. Have you ever gotten, have you ever fallen in love? Have that other person whom you loved showed that much affection towards you, so on and so forth. So certain things, certain reality checks have been shown in here. The impact of societal norms, the nature of reality. So realism again has been taken up in here. He utilizes symbolism and theatrical techniques. Now, why do I say symbolism? We have given the title Pagla Ghoda. Now, when the characters move forward in the play, they see, as I told you, that they are sitting at the funeral of a lady who has died because of the fact that who has done suicide, committed suicide because of her unrequited love. Now, when the spirit, the Atma, appears in front of all the four men who are sitting in there, she tells them that the Pagla Ghoda never hit her. Now, here, the Pagla Ghoda is symbolic of the Cupid that we talk about when we talk about the Valentine's Day. So how we say that the Cupid's bow or the arrow etc. is hitting someone and they fall in love if the Cupid's bow and arrow hit someone, of course, correct? So why are we talking about in here? Here in the Indian context, she has talked about and drew a parallel between the Cupid, equivalent to a Cupid, that is the Pagla Ghoda, right? That she has never gotten true love, and how the other people also talk about that, yes, they also never got true love truly. Around the four men from different walks of life and their conversation at the funeral of an unknown woman, already told you all about it. Discussing the mystery of the young woman's suicide, the death that she has suffered, secrets from their own past gradually come to the fore because they are talking to the spirit of the woman. Hence the theme of disillusionment. And not just in the context of them seeing the spirit, but also being in disillusionment because of the fact that they thought that yes, they were in love, but they never really were, or they thought that they gotten true love, but they did not. So disillusionment not just in one context but in other contexts as well. Then, of course, we are wrapping this video up by seeing the contributions Badal Sircar, has, talked about various themes, and he revolutionized the theatre, the Indian theatrical system, with the advent, with the discovery of what? With the discovery of the third theatre, the people's theatre, which we know as Shatabdi, correct? Still accessible, still relevant themes he has used, because I am making things relatable to you. So with the themes, with the overview, we can see that yes, this is one thing which I can relate to or I have seen in my surroundings, etc. Inspired a new generation of playwrights and theatre practitioners, not in the case just of writing the plays but also performing them. To be performed and studies, his plays are continuously, and we are also studying them even from the net perspective. So, was a visionary playwright. He wrote seeing the future. He wrote, dealing with the themes which are still prevalent in today's time. Transformed the landscape of Indian drama, Indian theatre, third theatre concept. Address social, political issues along with addressing the psychological stances, the themes of absurdity, the themes of existentialism, realism as well. still inspires and provokes thoughts when it comes to not just to the students of literature but also to any and everyone who's watching his dramas, etc. Correct? So this was it, and now I have a question for you all, that which of the following is not a play by Badal Sircar? The answer to this question is option D. Correct? Then moving forward, I have some other question for you, and yes, one thing that is notable in here is that you can pause the screen while viewing the question, answer and then see the answer. Who among the following is known to have used the elements of Yakshagna tradition in his theatre? The answer to this question is option B, that is Girish Karnad in his play Hayavadna. Now you see that if I brought Badal Sircar, I will not just be asking questions about him, but of course the questions which are related to other playwrights, even if Badal Sircar, has been given as the option, so that you guys don't get confused between things. Correct? So this was what we were supposed to cover in this very lecture, which was totally concerned with Badal Sircar and his concept and with the advent of the third theatre that he brought up to the Indian drama. Correct? I'll be moving forward with other concepts in another series, in another video. Till then, you all keep on smiling. Thank you so much and have a good day.